In today's video, we're going to go deeper into Motorola's camera and look at features that's going to give you more assistance and total control of your video and image quality. Motorola's AI feature is just one way we're putting the word smart into the term smart cameras. One of those is called auto scene selection. This is when the camera using artificial intelligence looks at the photo you're trying to take and offers suggestions. And it can do this without being obtrusive to the shot you're trying to take. Let's look at a couple examples here. So auto scene selects the right mode or camera settings depending on your shooting scene so you can always get the perfect photo. How does this work? The scenes are determined by analyzing the objects in the camera's vicinity using real-time intelligence. So for this, it'll change your ISO, how warm the picture is. It'll change the background. It'll tell you information such as you probably should go into night vision mode if the picture is too dark. So I'll try to demonstrate some of these using this Motorola Edge we have here today. So as always, we can just twist and turn the camera on, and I'm going to go into auto mode here. So if you go and turn on your settings, which is always the gear icon at the top right, if you were to turn the settings on by touching it, you can see all of your camera settings starting from the rear camera to the selfie camera. And if you keep scrolling down, you're going to see AI settings. And as you can see here, I have all of them turned on now. Oh, I'm sorry, let me go back to the AI settings and let's look at this. We have auto smile capture, is the first. Gesture selfie, smart composition, shot optimization, and Google Lens, what I showed you guys before. So I'm going to try to demonstrate some of these of what we have on here now. So first, the auto smile capture is turned on. So if we were to just go back to the camera, and as you can see, here's an example right now of the AI, because the phone camera is using the rear camera. It's so close to the black backdrop. It's sending me a signal on the screen saying, hey, maybe you should switch to macro mode. So if I were to hit macro mode, it's switching to macro mode because the phone is intelligently trying to take a photo of the black backdrop. So that's a perfect example, actually, of the capabilities that our AI can do. But I want to try to let's use smile. So I'm going to switch the camera around to the front view so you guys can see my little mug again right here in the room. And I'm going to smile. It took a photo. Look right here. Took a photo of me smiling. So that's another feature. Let's see, can we go back and try to use the palm feature if I can here. So you should see 3 dots when I hold my hand up to the screen. Voila, it took the photo, and there you have it. Although I should have, you can remove your hand once the 3 dots appear on the screen. You can move your hand. You have to look at me like I'm doing the Pledge of Allegiance there. So, but that's the palm, using the palm to take a photo. And as it just worked just there, and you can see my mug there as well. Okay, so moving along, let's have a little bit more fun with this. So I am going to switch the camera back around because I am hungry. And we have a nice, tasty salad we're going to put right here. Now watch what happens when I hold the camera to the salad. It switches and shows me that it's looking at food to switch to the settings to take a better picture of food that you're eating. So I snap the photo. Voila. Nice tasty salad as I take a break before we go into something else and have me some lunch. So what is Google Lens? Well, it's an image recognition technology developed by Google. What makes it so awesome is that it's designed to pull up pertinent information based upon the object it finds in your photo using a neural network. What's great about Motorola? This feature is built directly into the camera app. Let's take a look at a couple examples here. So to access Google Lens, we're already on the picture screen here, But what we want to do now is if you look right next to the little salad pictures that I last took, you see the little icon to the left right here. We're going to hit this icon and it's going to take us to Google Lens. And this is what you'll see the first time you use Google Lens on the phone. So to open the camera, we go here and let's find something to search. Let's see, can we search for something using this little thing here? See, I have my Miss Marvel Funko Pop, and what did it find? It found similar images and information about Miss Marvel Funko Pop. So all of this is right in the palm of your hand. Very, very smart technology we have here. And now we have my favorite feature, which is manual mode. Now, manual mode gives you additional options that you typically would find on a professional camera. That's right, a professional camera. So we're talking about features such as shutter speed, ISO, focusing, and also white balance, which we're about to go over right now. Now, what is white balance? White balance is the global adjustment of the intensity of colors. What does that mean in plain English, John? Well, typically, if you were to go and buy light bulbs, let's use that for an example. You find some light bulbs give off a more stronger yellow color, like you can see in the one behind me, or some light bulbs give off a more stronger whitish camera, as you see in such as professional camera lights, or even bluish hue in tone. When it's more on the yellow side, we call that warm. And when it's more on the blue side, we call that cold. So you can adjust the white balance all the way from your warm to cold. And I'm going to try to give you guys a live example of doing that right now using a Motorola phone that we have handy here. Okay, the greatest thing about Motorola is you do that little double twist, wiggle to go to the camera. And now, as you can look down and see live, hey guys, see me right here. You see my hand right here. I got it over the little light giving me light here on my face. But if you were to look at the options here, at the top right corner next to the settings gear, you see a little auto A. Now, if you look at this auto A, if you touch it, you see the two options. It means you're in auto mode now, but now we're going to go into manual mode. And manual mode pulls the additional professional options on the right side of the screen. So the second one from the top, you see a WB, white balance. If I were to click white balance, but before I click the white balance, I want you guys to know that this works on the rear camera and front camera. So let's just use the front camera so we can use my little ugly mug. And as you see the lights up here now. So hello, hello, hello. All right, but I'm going to put the camera on me. And as I put the camera on me, we're going to try to adjust the white balance on it. And right now, it's in auto. You can see the word auto on the screen here. So when I move it off auto, I'm going to move it just a little bit to the left. And as you can see, it's extremely blue because on the left side is your colder side, the blue side. But as I move it to the right, it's going to change the white balance to more warmer colors. And again, a reason you want to do this manually is because you can have a room that typically have warm or normal yellowish light bulbs inside, and you can use this to change it to a more whitish hue, such as I have professional camera lights, which typically goes white or colder. I can make them warm, all without going to go buy new light bulbs. So that's an amazing feature we have here on the Motorola camera app. Next feature is one of my personal favorites to get you a beautiful image. That's called ISO. Now, what does ISO do? It determines the camera's sensitivity to light. And I say that, but to you, it's going to look like if I turn it this way, more light's going to be in the photo. If I turn it this way, the photo is going to be darker. But it's not from letting in more light. It's just with how the camera deals with the light that you already have. So when would you need to manually use ISO? The catch is if you add artificial light using ISO, turning the light all the way up. If you do that, the picture will be more grainy. So from some cameras, when they go take pictures in the dark, all the camera is doing is turning up the ISO to give you a lighter image, which is why you see a lot of grainy images in nighttime photos, because they don't have the excellent night vision like our Motorola camera app has, to where we don't have to do that. So what would be a great reason? Well, there's an opposite side to that catch. If you let more ISO light in, then it's going to look grainier. But if you reduce it down lower, it's going to look beautiful, but dark. So how do we fix this to our favor? Let's pull up the ISO app right here. We are already in manual mode from doing the white balance. So the ISO, you see it, ISO right here. If I click on the ISO, it's on auto, remember? So if I move it off auto just a little bit, we're going to be at the lowest ISO. So we'll be at 100, which is darker. We'll be, if we go, this is how light it could get. So if I already take this photo that you guys see where it's beaming full of light, it would be really grainy. So ISO gives us a great quality image, because if I turn it down and I add manual light, I get to keep the crispness of the low ISO, but I get to add light and get a really beautiful photo. You can see all my blemishes and everything as I have the ISO on the lowest setting of 100. Snap that photo, and there you have it. So this is a really great way if you have enough lights around you, and you will need these lights because it doesn't look low to you because I have a lighting set. But if this lighting set were not here, the image that we're looking at right here would be completely black. It would be extremely dark. So if you got enough light, add ISO to your photos, better image quality. Next, we have shutter speed. Shutter speed just determines the length of time your shutter is open. So think of the shutter as being like your eyelids. If you've opened for a long time, that's called slower shutter speed. If it opens very quickly, you have quick shutter speed, and the difference would be in moving objects. So you can get away with having a slow shutter speed if I'm just sitting here. But if I were to move really fast and you have your shutter speed set to open, then it's going to create a really nasty blur. If I'm moving really, really quickly and you shut it fast, that's how you get crisp images. When someone is, like if you're filming a basketball game or someone in motion, you want to shut your shutter speed fast. And one of the reasons you want to manually do it is because you may not want to follow what the camera automatically wants you to do. If a person is taking a photo, but behind them are horses racing, the horses are going to look really, really blurry if it auto focuses on the person, because the person is standing there thinking it doesn't need a super fast shutter speed. But you may want the horses there, which you need a faster shutter speed. So if that still sounds a little confusing to you, let's just do an example right here so you can see what happens when you got shutter speed. I want to twist to turn on the camera, and I want to look at myself again. All right, so now we're going to go to shutter speed here. I went to auto, I'm sorry. Do you see the blur on my face as I turn? Do you see the blur? You see how blurry my head is because I have the shutter speed open. Now watch what happens to the blur. I look crazy, huh? Watch what happens to the blur as I go to faster and faster shutter speeds. And what you're seeing, you see that 1 and that 60, that I'm using 1/60th of a second. So as I try to give it more light, now look, there's no blur. And I notice something that you guys have noticed too. You say, John, you don't have any blur, but you're a lot darker. That's because opening the shutters for a longer time lets in more light. So now you guys know 2 manual ways you can get more light. And you know, of these 2 ways, the disadvantages of doing it. You can add more light to your photo using ISO, but in ISO, you could get a grainier image. You can let in more light using your shutter speed, but in shutter speed, it's going to be blurry if they're moving. So if you don't have enough light for a photo, you can go in manual mode. You can open your shutter speed if they're just smiling. Why would it matter if it's going blurry if I'm just taking a photo? See, so that's two new ways that you can get better photos by doing things manually yourself. Additional features such as beautification mode, which allows you to smooth your skin to hide unwarranted blemishes and wrinkles, and also spot color, which allows you to choose one specific color in a photo, leaving the rest of the picture black and white, have been long staples in our Motorola camera app for years. But now something new is coming, which you can do these two in video mode. So while you're filming, you can use beautification. And also while you're filming, you can film in black and white, leaving only one color in the photo on our new phones to come. All in all, with our AI offering you additional assistance along with giving you total manual control over your photos, it not only gives the Motorola camera app a leg up over the competition, but it gives you the power of a cinematographer right in the palm of your hands.